Aquabon friend, sorry that I was absent. I'm kind of sick now. I was sick last week, and you will notice through this video. But hey, let's pull through and let's have some fun. So enjoy the vid. Aquabon, my friends. Today we're gonna talk about release 2.0 and all the cards that are included and what you should include in your pre-release. My name is Yor, and let's get to it. So if this is the first pre-release you are gonna play, in this time it's called Celebration Event, but I digress. What's new? How do you play? Well, you get 6 packs of the respective sets, 2 pre-release packs, which includes I think commons and uncommon versions of the current set that you are participating in, also 2.0, and then a participation card, which doesn't need to be from the current set. The current participation card is EX01 Machine Demon. I will put it on screen somewhere, but in short, this card is not good in this kind of setting. It's quite cheesy to play. There's like one way to play it out, but I would not include that unless you really need a level 6 for whatever reason. With that said, with all those cards you can create a 40 card deck, which includes all the cards that you pulled from your boosters and all the exits you could pull potentially, and then you go. How do you evolve up? Well, you can evolve into any color that you want. You don't need to fulfill the color requirements for Digi Evolution. However, you need to fulfill color requirements of option cards and anything that states it in the text. So for example, the Tamers, which we're going to talk about in a second, requires a red Tamer for its effect to be active. It cannot be a yellow Tamer whatsoever. So that's it. Also, this would also go for DNA Digivolve, but it's not that common. It's not like we are in PT16. Also, special thing, if you don't have any X or you have X that you don't want to use, you can play out a rookie into your breeding area slot, and the time where you would hatch an egg, if you cannot hatch an egg. But if you do so, you do not draw a card because you did not evolve. You just play the rookie into it for free, and since it's a breeding area, play costs on plays don't trigger. And without further ado, since it's gonna be a long video, I'm gonna get right to it. So, starting with the X, we have Digimon. When attacking once per turn, if you have a red Tamer, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3k DP or less. Is it a good card? Hell yes. I mean, it's an X, so usually you want to include as many X as you can physically because there's also no limitation on that one. But usually in 6 packs, you're not gonna get more than 6 X. You can be lucky if you get even an X. Some people don't get any X. Anyways, you should include this card. It's a good card. Does it see play outside of sealed? Hell no, but it's still a good card. Next we have Sharpmon. All turns, when you have another blue Digimon, this Digimon gets 1k DP. Conditional 1k DP all turns is, I mean, do we have enough blue Digimon? I guess yes, but I mean it's an X, so you just include it. So we move on. Next we have Prerelease. Opponent's turn, when any of your opponent's Digimon attack by returning this Digimon with an Aqua or Sea animal in one of its traits to the bottom of the deck, return one of your opponent's Digimon with as high or lower level as the returned Digimon to the hand. Interesting. Will it come up in sealed? I would doubt, even though we have a lot of aquatic or sea animal type cards in this set, because first of all the original line is there, and then we have the water hybrids. But I would not bank on it. It makes sense in its original deck because they have decode, like a new keyword that I will get to it into later. But basically you can partition with only one card, but other than that, it's a rookie. It's not a rookie, it's an X, so include it. Next we have Digimon. I like that. When attacking once per turn, if you have a yellow Tamer counterpart to Digimon, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2k for the turn. It's a bit more generic than the Digimon, can also hit higher setted Digimon. Do you include it? Yes, if you have a Tamer and it's active, cool. If you don't have a Tamer, well, it's still an egg, right? So at least you can evolve into it. So next, we have the support for the Royal Bees, Uroromon. Start off main phase by placing one Digimon with the Royal Base trait in your hand, face up in the bottom security, add the top security card to your hand. So trying to set up your bees into the face up into security. Is it good in sealed? Hell no. Unless you have like a lot of Royal Bees and you really want to have them active, because some of them have crazy effects, but it's an X, so include it. Next we have Pokemon. With the simple effect of your turn, while you have another green Digimon in play, this Digimon gets 2k DP. If you can meet the requirements, I wouldn't see a reason not to use this card, so included. Does it say play outside of it? No, but I mean, you could have guessed it yourself. Next we have Kozenimon. All turns, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, draw 1. I like this egg and see it. It gives you draw, because there's not a lot of draw in this kind of game mode unless you evolve, and then there's not a lot of consistent ways to evolve up because you don't have searches, blah blah blah. So an auto include in my eyes, it's really good though. I would favor this. Next we have the worst egg that I've seen for seed, Fremon. Don't get me wrong, I love Leomon, but on deletion, trash the top card of your deck for each color of your opponent's Digimon and Tamers. It's not helpful in sealed. If they have all colors, you trash 6 cards from the top of your deck, and that is just milling yourself. So I would actually not include this card in your deck, even though if this would be the only deck you happen to pull, that one draw is not worth that 2 or 3 mil. So take this with a grain of salt. Just don't. And last but not least, we have Pagomon. On deletion, if deleted other than by the battle, return 1 level 3 purple Digimon card from your trash to the hand. It's pretty situational, so I guess just consider this as an egg. It can be good in a suspective deck, but I digress. So in short, all the eggs are viable, besides Fremon, because we don't want to mill ourselves. Let's move on to the level 3s. Alright, starting with the level 3s, we have Goblimon. 3 cost to play, 2k DP, 0 cost to evo. On play, delete one of your opponent's 2k or less. Is it good? Yes. Is it good in sealed? Exceptionally. Will it see play outside? No, but hey, it's good in sealed and it's okay, so include it. Next we have Shamamon. 3 cost to play, 2k DP, 0 to evo. All turns your opponents can't gain memory except with Tamers and effects. Welcome to the club. Finally joining into red. Is it good in sealed specifically for its effect? I don't think so. There are a few Digimon that can gain memory, but you know, I wouldn't include it for that. I would just include it because it has good stats. 2k DP, considering that all other rookies are like 1k DP, is pretty good. Makes you enables you to swing easy into security, and then the alternate effect is just a nice side effect. Next we have Pokemon. 3 cost to play, 1k DP, 0 cost to evo. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with hybrid and 10 warriors in the straight, or 10 warriors in the straight, and then 1 red tamer with an inherit effect. Among them, return the rest to the bottom, and then your turns once per turn when any of your Digimon or Tamers with evo into a hybrid or 10 warriors gain 1 memory. Is it a good card in sealed? Situational. I would actually advocate it for a lot of hybrid cards, you know, the level 4s, the human spirits and the beast spirits, because they seem pretty good and they are like the biggest amount in the level 4 slot. But other than that, it's like, it's a rookie, so you include it. Is it good in its original deck where it's intended to? I think so. I like it. It's basically like a lesser version of the BT7 one, but it can evolve, so I think that's more valuable in the great scheme of things. So let's move on. We have Gazimon. 3 cost to play, 1k DP, 1 cost to evo. Unless your name is Pokemon, then it's 0. On play, reveals the top 3 cards, looks for Millenniumon and Digimon with the composite or wicked god trait. And then bottom next to this, inherit effect is retaliation. I mean, the search is in seed pretty much ignorable. Like, you just bottom deck 3 cards 9 out of 10 times. Retaliation is neat, but since I believe there's not a lot of bidding high in this kind of format, especially since we have so many good hybrids that you can just play Tamers and don't get punished that much. I don't see him, because paying 1 to evo onto him, unless you have Pokemon specifically, I think it's kind of costly, and it's not like it's Pokemon, so I would maybe not include him directly. I mean, if you're needing to fill the numbers, include him, but I would rather call off. Next we have Siakamon. 2 cost to play, really important, 3k DP and a vanilla. It has the aquatic type, which may come up in like 2 seconds, but is that a good card to play in sealed? Yes, it's cheap to play out, has great stats for its cost, it evos for 0, so I don't see a reason why you shouldn't include this in your deck. Next we have Sangomon. 3 cost to play, 1k DP, 0 cost to evo. Reveal the top, on play, reveals the top 3, looks for Aqua or Sea Animal in a Digimon in one of their traits, and a card with Liberator, so it can also find the Tamer. It's safe and aquatic type. And then inherit effect, end of turn, end of attack, my bad, gain 1 memory. I like this in seed a lot because it gives you a lot more value. If you are on like level 4 that can swing multiple times and survives. Granted, it needs to survive, but I think this card, just for its inherent effect, is pretty good. And surprisingly, there's a lot of aquatic cards in this set, so it's not that bad to be using this. So yeah. Next we have Swimmon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP, 0 to Evo, evade and inherit jamming. It has jamming, it's aquatic, use it. Next we have Penguinmon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP, 1 cost to Evo. Your turn. Once per turn, when this Digimon or any of your Tamers would Digivolve into a multicolored Digimon that is blue or red, reduce the cost by 1. Also inherit effect jamming. I mean, I like jamming in this kind of format, so you are sure that your Digimon will survive. However, evoing for 1 is not really enabling you to do a lot. There's not a lot of options that you want to activate with this color combination. So this is really hinged on how many hybrids you want to play in your deck and how many Tamers you pulled, and whether you have enough red and blue hybrids. Other than that, if you really want jamming, I guess you can pay 1 and or just hard play him to have jamming active, but I would not rely on him. Next we have Candemon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP, 0 cost to evo, basic searcher set lines. On play, reveals the top 3 cards for 1 yellow data trade card and 1 Witchingly card among them. Then inherent effect is the protection for all Witchingly data themed cards. If a yellow Digimon with the data Witchingly trade would leave the battle area by your opponent's effects, by trashing the top card of your security, it doesn't. Is it good? I mean, if you're playing Dynasmon, yes. But other than that, it's meh. I would just ignore his effect and consider him like a vanilla with really bad stats. But sometimes you need to fill in the numbers, and I guess that's more bearable. But I would rather include something else. Next we have Nemon, same stats as Pokemon, same on play as Pokemon, but search for a yellow card instead. But your turn's effect, once per turn, when any of your Tamers with an inherent effect are played, gain 1 memory. This is like the subversion. Instead of involving, you just hard play them and then gain memory, which I like in that situation, even though it doesn't trigger for the non-Frontier Tamers. But I think this is a bit more usable, so I like this. I would include it in my deck if I have enough hybrids, of course, but oh well. Next we have Luxmon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP, 0 cost to evo. Reads your turn, once per turn, when any other Digimon with the 1 Angel, Archangel or 3 Great Angels trait is played, gain 1 memory. Also inherit when attacking once per turn if one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2k for the turn. I wish it would see itself, so it would basically be a 2 cost to play. But other than that, I think it's aight. Its main effect is not really gonna be active in this kind of set. However, unconditional -2 when attacking is pretty good. Clears out all of the rookies that I mentioned besides Siakamon. So thumbs up, and let's move on. Next we have Patamon, 3 cost to play, 2 KDP, 0 to evo. Hand, main. If your breeding area is empty, by returning 1 Digimon card with the 3 Great Angels trait from your trash to the bottom of the deck, play this card in your breeding area without paying the cost. Pretty situational. I don't think there's a lot of great 3 Great Angels cards in this set besides the F1 Ace, which counts as one. So I guess it's just a rookie, but in that specific scenario where for whatever reason he ends up in trash, use F1 Ace, he can be your Ukumon, promo Ukumon like play, but I digress. Next we have Lucemon, not a rookie in my eyes, but a 10 cost to play, 10 KDP, doesn't evo unless your name is Kupimon, then it evos for 5, so it's not really good in that kind of scenario. But anyways, start off main on play, by trashing 1 card from your hand, your opponents may trash the top security card. If this effect didn't trash, recover 1. This is, by the way, on play and start of main phase. End of your turn, by placing 1 of your level 6 Digimon on top of your security stack, this Digimon may Digivolve into Lucemon Chaosmon in your trash without paying the cost. Hey, this is a great card on 7 Great Demon Lords. It's just not a great card in Sealed. So just don't. unless we have specifically Lord Nightmon from BT19 where he can cheat out any level 4 or lower, just don't. Next we have Tapemon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP, 0 to evo. On play, by trashing 1 the top card of your security, gain 1 memory, and then inherit effect is the same effect as all Witchenly cards will have, which saves a Witchenly card or yellow data card by trashing the top card. It's not a good effect. I would just include it because I need rookies. In all honesty, I don't think paying one of your securities to gain 1 memory will be helpful, but I can be wrong, but I don't think so. Next we have Pokemon, 3 cost to play, 2 KDP, 0 to Evo. All turns when this Digimon is suspended, all of your other Digimon gets 1 KDP. I like this a bit more. Looks great in Bloom Lord, but Bloom Lord is currently not meta, but it looks like a fun card that buffs all your other Digimon, make them a bit more likely to survive hitting into another rookie, because all rookies are 1k, and if they are 2k while they are suspended, swinging, and while he is also suspended, that's a bit better. So I like this card, I would include it. Next we have Tinkermon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP, 1 to Evo, which is a bit expensive, but your turns once per turn when this Digimon or any of your Tamers will Digivolve into a multicolored Digimon that is green or red, reduce the cost by 1, and it has piercing. I didn't like Penguinmon for the same effect, but this is just red and green. However, what I want to say is piercing is a good keyword to have, and I think this is the only card that will give you piercing. So if you value trying to control the board of your opponent while doing also damage, this is the card for you. However, without jamming, this kind of needs to be a big setted body like a level 5 to do the damage, so depends on you. Next we have Funbimon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP, 1 cost to Evo. Unless you are a Royal Base egg, then you are 0. All Royal Base cards have the security effect, at least in level 3s, that all of your Royal Base trade Digimon get 1 KDP. Inherit effect is also the same, this Digimon gets 1 KDP. And then on play, by placing 1 Digimon card with the Royal Base trait in your hand face up as the bottom card of your security, add the top card of your security to your hand. So basically what the egg is doing, setting up, getting you ready. I wouldn't include it unless I have, for whatever reason, all the Royal Base cards in my deck. Then playing Royal Base Tribal is kinda nice. Also to mention, all the Royal Base cards are Insectoids. Just saying. But yeah, next we have Funbimon, also from BT19. Similar effects. The difference here is your turns when this Digimon would Digivolve into a Royal Base trait Digimon, reduce the cost by 1. Same reasoning. I'm so sorry, I'm a bit sick. Ich kann echt nicht mehr. Next we have another Funbimon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP. Okay. Here we have another Funbimon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP, 1 cost to Evo, blah 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 blah. The difference here is when this Digimon would Digivolve into a Royal Base trait Digimon, reduce the cost by 1, which, I mean, it's in its theme deck, it's pretty nice. In sealed, it's pretty unless again, if you have all Royal Beast cards, which I wouldn't personally advise to, it could be insane. So yeah, I mean, they are beasts. The more you have, the better. Next we have Kotemon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP, 0 to Evo. On play, by trashing 1 card with Nightmon in the text, draw 2. All turns, this Digimon gets 1 KDP. The on play is, you could ignore it. I mean, there are a few cards that have Nightmon in their text. However, I don't know if you really want to dig that deep into your deck. But you know, if you have the cards, I guess. The inherit effect is nice, making it a bit more tankier and more likely to survive security. So I would include it for that. And the on play is like a small upside. I mean, it's not mandatory anyway, so you can just play it. Next we have Zenimon, 3 cost, 2 KDP, 0 to Evo, same effect as Shamanmon. I don't know why I was about to say blue. Why black has another memory blocking floodgate, but hey, he's there and he has 2 KDP. So would you include that? If you include Shamanmon, you include this card too. Next we have Vemmon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP, 0 to Evo. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Vemmon in their text, and place 1 Vemmon among them as the bottom evolution card of your Digimon. Return the rest to the bottom of the deck. Your turns, once per turn, when this Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon card with Vemmon in the text, reduce the cost by 1. It's not good and sealed. That's all I'm gonna say. Next we have Monitamon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP, 0 to Evo, unleash, and review the top 3 cards of your deck. Among them, add 1 card with Nightmon in the text or the Twilight trait to the hand and place 1 such card under your Tamers, return the rest to the bottom of the deck. Inherit effect, reboot. That's the most important part that I needed to read out. For that effect alone, I would include it. I like reboot, it's really good. So yeah. Next we have Kukabuterimon, same stat line as Tinkermon and Penguinmon, also same main effect but just for black and yellow, but the inherit effect is blocker, which is why I like this card a bit more than Penguinmon. I think blocker is really valuable in this kind of format, so I would include it for that effect alone. Even though it stings to pay 1 to Evo, I would still do that. In the situation where you don't have even enough X, you don't Evo at all anyways, I think this is fine. Next we have Leon, I can't say his name, Leonmon, same situation as the other Frontiers rookies. He has retaliation. I don't personally value retaliation that much, so I don't know if I want to pay 1 to have retaliation in my repertoire. So for that reason I would not use him. Obviously if I'm low on rookies, I mean I have no other choice, but I would rather use Kokabuterimon or Tinkermon than him. Last but not least we have Gizamon, 3 cost to play, 1 KDP, also 1 to Evo, but if you're Pagomon then it's 0. On play, by trashing 1 card with the composite or wicked god trait from your hand, draw 2, and it has blocker as an inherent effect. I think again the on play is like non-existent in the seed, but blocker is a good keyword that I would cherish and appreciate to have. So for that reason alone, I personally would pay 1, but I would not consist my deck of only rookies that cost 1 and Lucamons. I would personally have a lot of rookies that cost 0 to Evo, because in the end of the day you want to push your opponent quite fast, and if you can manage to get a lot of hybrid cards, then Nemon and Pokemon are the choices. Siakamon is a good beta to swing into security in Survive, and then other rookies that give you meaningful inherits like Monitamon, Kokabuterimon and Gizamon with blocker, and even Tinkermon are also valuable. And again, Lucamon, it doesn't evolve, even in sealed it doesn't evolve. You can evolve on top of it, but I wouldn't. So if you don't have a way to cheat him out, I don't include this card. And with that said, I wrap up the level 3s and let's go to the level 4s. Alright, we are here now at the level 4s, and without further ado, let's start with Grumblemon. He's a 5 cost to play, 5 KDP, 2 cost to Evo from a level 3 or from a Tamer that is red, but in sealed it doesn't really matter. Slides Evo from Gigasmon, but I will not mention it for the rest of the hybrids. On play, when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3k or less. When attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3k or less. Is it good? Yes, I would include it 100%, especially if I happen to have more than 2 Tamers. He's a really good guy, removes another rookie, removes rookies with his inherit effect, and I think rookie are the bane of sealed and the main way to do damage easily, so yeah, I like him. Next we have Gigasmon, 6 cost to play, 6 KDP, 3 cost to Evo from a level 3 or a Tamer. I think you notice a pattern here, so I will not mention it for all the Frontiers hybrids again. The human spirits cost 2 to Evo, and the beast spirits cost 3, and then for the Frontiers cars, they cost 3 to Evo for the humans, and for the beast spirits it costs 4, just to note. On play, when Digivolving, one of your Digimon gains Rush, and it has the same inherit as its counterpart, so delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3k or less. I think he's not as good as the other one. If you have ways to cheat out a level 4, like with Lord Nightmon, he's pretty good because he can give himself Rush and then swing again. His inherit effect is nice, but I would rather use Grumblemon than him, because in this kind of scenario there's not a lot of ways to cheat out consistently bodies onto the board, so giving something Rush is a bit tedious. The only good thing you can do is play a Tamer for whatever reason, then Evo into him and give himself Rush and then swing. I would not include it for that. I would include it if I need to up my hybrid count. Next we have Agunimon, 5 cost to play, 5 KDP, 3 cost to evo, like I mentioned earlier, so I'll get to the chase. When Digivolving, you may return 1 card with the hybrid trait, or 10 warriors trait, or a Tamer with inherit effect from your trash to the hand, which is pretty good. Inherit effect is 2k and he costs 2 to evo from Takuya. It's a hybrid, even though it's a costly hybrid, so I would rather prefer the other non-frontiers human spirits, but he has a good inherit, so I let it slide. Next we have Deltamon, 5 cost to play, 5 KDP, 3 cost to evo, unless your name is Gazimon and Gizamon, then it's 2. Rate, on play when Digivolving, by trashing 1 card from your hand, return 1 card with the Composite or Wicked God trait from your trash to your hand. Retaliation has an inherit effect. Do I like this card? Not necessarily. I think Rate can be good in this format, but not on a level 4. So unless you want to really remove those rookies, I think there are other ways and more efficient ways to do so, so I would give this card a pass. Next we have the Spirit of Water in human form, so I'm just going to read out the on-play when Digivolving effect, reveals the top 3 card of your deck, adds 1 card with C or C enemy in their traits among them, and places 1 such card as any of your blue Digimon bottom evolution cards, but you can just slot it under this Digimon. Return the rest to the bottom of the deck. Her inherit effect is you may return 1 level 3 Digimon to the hand. It doesn't need to be your opponent's Digimon, you can bounce back yours, which can come in clutch, I guess, in certain edge cases, but I mean, this in general thrives the more aqua cards you manage to pull from your pack, which you cannot control, but it's a human spirit nevertheless, so let's move on. So I include it. Again, human spirits are my favorites, so include them in your deck in general because they cost 2, so they evolve like a normal vanilla level 4 and have great versatility. Next we have Cameraman. I just read out the on-play when Digivolving effect. If a level 3 Digimon card is in this evolution card, return 1 of your opponent's level 4 Digimon back to the hand. If there isn't, you may place 1 blue level 3 Digimon card from your hand as this Digimon evolution card. And then the same inherit effect. I think this card can be good, and honestly, if you raise a level 3 and then evo into it to bounce back a level 4 of their own, can be pretty nice. I mean, the second part is pretty situational. I don't think that you have a lot of blue cards that you can just slot in at any time, but I still think this card can see some good play, so I would include it myself in my deck. Next we have Shelmon, 4 cost to play, 4k DP, 2 cost to evo, inherit effect same as its rookie, gain 1 memory, and when Digivolving, if you have 1 of your Tamers, you may play 1 Yao Qinglan from your hand without paying the cost. Also aquatic, basically if you have Yao and him, that's a nice combo. Other than that, it's just a vanilla, so I don't have a problem with it though, because it has a nice inherit effect. Next we have Chikomon, 5 cost to play, 5 KDP, 2 cost to evo, so vanilla in my rule. Return 1 of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to the hand as an on-play with Digivolving and jamming included. Next we have Kumamon, 1 of the human spirits of Tommy, evos for 2 from Tommy. When Digivolving effect, trash the bottom 2 evolution cards of your opponent's Digimon, and then, as all Frontiers human spirits will have, when attacking once per turn, 1 of your Digimon or Tamers may Digivolve into a blue or red Digimon card with the hybrid trait in the hand with the evolution cost reduced by 1. Notice that I said blue or red. Every Frontiers card will mention their respective cards that there already are. And then also all turns effect, when this Digimon would leave the battle area other than by your effects, play 1 Tamer with inherit effects from these evolution cards without paying the cost. So if you have 1 of your Tamers out, they will stay out and they will not die with the Digimon, which is kind of nice. Other than that, they are quite expensive to evo, like Beast Spirits, and they don't have the greatest stats, and when attacking will not come up. Specifically him is like but it's an SR, so if you pull it, be happy anyways. So we move on with its Beast Spirit form. Same stats that I mentioned earlier. 6 cost to play, 7 KDP, evos for 4, so I will not mention it. He has jamming as his inherit effect and also on himself. And also, on play when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon with no evolution cards cannot suspend until the end of their turn, which is basically a stun effect. He complements Kumamon pretty well, but I would say if you want to have jamming in a level 4, use Chikamon, or like the card that I mentioned earlier, because he costs almost double the amount to evo into, and with little upside, because stunning a rookie can be clutch. But yeah. Next we have Piedmon, 4 cost to play, 4 KDP, 2 cost to evo. Inherit effect is the same as its predecessor. When attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2k for the turn, but his security effect is different, because he has a security effect that plays him out after the battle, which I think is pretty nice. So if you manage to find him in your common slots, use him. I think he's pretty good. Next we have Wizardmon, 5 cost to play, 5 KDP, 2 cost to evo. Same inherit effect as all the other Witchery cards. And then when Digivolving, by trashing the top card of your security stack, draw 1 and gain 1 memory. I don't really like those kind of effects again in sealed, because you don't have a lot of control about your security. You cannot heal as much as that dedicated deck can do unless you have Dynasmon pulled. So consider him just a rookie, just a vanilla, and just move on with your day. But I like the art. I like that they shifted it slightly down to showcase its art. Next we have Adramon, 4 cost to play, 4 KDP, 2 cost to evo. On deletion, give one of your opponent's Digimon sec -1 until the end of their turn. Then if you have 2 or fewer security cards, recover 1. Inherit effect barrier. I like this card a lot because it doesn't punish you if you go aggressive into the security and die, because if it's early, then well, okay, you stop your opponent from aggressing you, and if it's a bit later, you heal. Also, barrier is a good thing to have on a level 5 as an inherited, as a level 4 for a level 5, because then you can protect your bigger bodies from battle a lot easier, which I personally like. So yeah. Next we have Lubomon, the counterpart to Argunimon. His beautiful effect is when Digivolving, search your security stack, look for a hybrid, and if you find one, recover 1. It also looks for 10 warriors, but I digress. Its inherent effect is when attacking, if you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, draw 1. I usually don't like those cards, but considering that draw is few and you will run out of cards in hand if you start slamming your cards from your hand, I think this is a really good card to include in your deck. Also considering that it's a hybrid, so you can just use him to finish the game. So yeah, I like him. I would include him. Next we have Wizardmon X, 6 cost to play, 6 KDP, 3 cost to evo. Same inherit as the other ones, the other Witchery cards, but his on-play with Digivolving effect is at the top security card to your hand. Then if Wizardmon X antibody is in this evolution cards, you may place 1 yellow or purple option card with the cost 5 or less from your hand as your bottom security card. This enables you to place the option card that is dedicated for this deck into the bottom, which is pretty nice with an effect. But the add your top security card to the hand doesn't seem optional. So I don't like this card. I really don't like this card. Even though the art is sick, I don't like this card. Please don't include it. Next we have a Human Spirit that is not from the Frontiers card, with the on-play effect of when Digivolving by suspending one of your green Digimon, suspending one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. And it has Visitation, which will include it an automatic spot in Bloom Lords. Also, when attacking, once per turn, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. I think this card is good, pretty situational, but it's a hybrid for 2, so I digress. And when attacking, to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon can get around the few blockers that they could have. And if you have multiple cards, multiple Digimon on the board, you can use this effect to swing with your other Digimon into theirs. So I don't really hate it. Next we have Petardramon, with the on-play with Digivolving effect of you may unsuspend one of your level 4 or lower Digimon with the Plant of Vegetation, one of his traits. He costs 3 to evo, which is, I don't usually mention it because I had mentioned it earlier, but why I think this is pretty okay though is if you swing with your rookie, he survives, you evo into him and unsuspend Petardramon, because he's himself a vegetation card. Other than that, there are just a few synergies for that, but I think he can actually also see play outside of seed. So next we have Shamblemon, 4 cost to play, 3 KDP, 2 cost to Evo. On play, and when Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then one of your opponent's Digimons with the data trait can't unsuspend until the end of the turn. I think this is quite situational. I don't think it's that worth, because it's quite understated. Like, yeah, it's nice against Dynasmon, but I don't think it's worth to include. I mean, if I need some level 4s to go to level 5 and it costs 2, I mean, yeah, maybe, but I think there are other better choices than him, because he doesn't have an inherent effect either. Next we have Kazumon with the unique effect. For her is when Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. That is pretty basic, but this enables you to dodge blockers, so I like it. Other than that, she is similar to all the others, so I will just glance over. Of a second form, the beast form, it has piercing on the card itself and inherit, and then on play when Digivolving, one of your Digimon gets 3 KDP until the end of your opponent's turn. 4 cost to Evo is pretty damning, but buffing one of your Digimon makes sure that they will stick a bit longer on the board, and if you have other ways to get the evolution card, the evolution cheaper, or you happen to have Zoe, I think this is a great addition. And even not this card, like piercing is an inherent effect, I think is quite valuable, so keep this card in your head if you manage to pull it. I do need to say though, it's quite expensive to Evo into, so I would not rely on this card, and make sure that I have enough level 4s, but it's still nice. If the situation comes up, it's still nice. Next we have Royal Base support, 4 cost to play, 4 KDP. Looks like Pride Memory Boost is gonna be useful in the near future. 3 cost to Evo. Sec, same as the ones before. Royal Base, Digimon gets 1 KDP, same inherit. Difference here is opponent's turn, none of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP as this Digimon can attack, which is crazy as a floodgate. If it's active. If it's not active, which I would assume because it's sealed, disabling rookies to attack can be quite valuable, and sometimes just stops your opponent outright in their tracks, and removal is not as common. However, I mentioned already a few cards that bounces level 4 cards back to the hand, so be wary, but I think this is a good card nonetheless. I can see somebody including it and hard slamming it for 4 to just stop your opponents of harassing you with the rookies. Next we have Forge Beamon. His unique effect is all turns, once per turn, when any of your other Digimon with the Royal Base trait would leave the battle area by effects, by placing this Digimon as the face-up bottom security card, they don't leave. Protection is good. Again, it's not Royal Base, it's sealed, so I'm not so sure about that one in sealed, so I would maybe give it a pass because it's quite expensive to Evo into, but hey, if you have the cards, you have the cards. Next we have Trimon. In short, 4 cost to play, 4 KDP, 2 cost to Evo, which I like in that regard. On play, reveal the top 3 cards. You may place a Tamer card or a level 4 or lower black card among them as this Digimon's evolution card to put the rest to the bottom of the deck. End of opponent's turn, once per turn, you may play a Tamer card from this Digimon evolution card without paying the cost. Also, if this Digimon has machine, it gets collision as its inherent effect, which are not a lot, so yeah, take this with a grain of salt. But I think this card can be decent if you have a more Tamer focused deck and see it, which again with all those hybrids that I mentioned earlier, it's not that bad, but other than that, it's vanilla, so at worst you can just bridge the gap faster to level 5s. Next we have Gladimon, 5 cost to play, 5 KDP, 2 cost to Evo. On play when Digivolving, by trashing 1 card with the Nightmon in the stacks from your hand, one of your Digimon cannot be deleted by your opponent's effects until the end of the turn. All turns, this Digimon gets 1 KDP. Ignore its on play when Digivolving effect for the like 9 out of 10 times. I think you can just include this card because it has a decent on play all turns effect. So your level 5s and higher are a bit more beefy, so I like that. Other than that, yeah, it's vanilla in my eyes. Next we have Mercurymon, 5 cost to play, it's a human. hybrid, so let's move on. On play, when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon cannot be returned or bottom deck by your opponent's effects, which is handy. And then inherit effect, not once per turn, opponent's turn, this Digimon gets 2 KDP. So this Digimon is a lot more likely to stick on the board, which I like. So yeah, it's a hybrid included for that reason alone, but his on play when Digivolving effect is not that bad. Next we have Snatchmon, 6 cost to play, 6 KDP, 3 cost to Evo. While you have no Digimon other than Vemmon, cards from your trash may also be placed as discards for discards Digicost. Then obviously Digicost is with 4 Vemmon, so it can come down for 2. Then when Digivolving, you may place up to 2 Vemmon from your trash as this Digimon evolution cards, and then end of your turn, if this Digimon has 4 or more evolution cards, this Digimon may evolve into a Digimon with Vemmon in its text from your hand. Or turns, when Vemmon returns to the bottom of your deck from this evolution cards, unsuspend this Digimon and it gets blocker until the end of the opponent's turn. Pretty nice. In its archetype, not so good in Seed. Next we have Seraphimon, which is crazy. It's B Spirit, so same stats as the others, but on play when Digivolving, by placing 1 level 4 or lower card with the hybrid trait other than Seraphimon from your hand or trash as this Digimon's evolution cards, you may activate one of their on play effects. So like a mini Apocadimon. And I think that is pretty good. Like there are some pretty good effects. So I like it. I pretty much enjoy it. I mean, it's also from hand or trash, so it's pretty flexible. So yeah, I really like it. So please include the black hybrids in your decks. Next we have Betamon, as dual color hybrid from JP. His unique effect is until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon cannot be deleted by your opponent's effects. Can be nice, but DP reduction wouldn't get around it. So if they have a way to give you -6 and the level 5s do, he is not dodging that. Next we have Metacarbotheriumon with blocker as his unique effect and its inherent effect, and then on play when Digivolving, de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, which is I think one of the better effects of the Beast Spirit and one of the effects I would pay over for. So for 4 you can de-Digivolve any of your opponent's Digimon, which can come up pretty clutch. He has blocker, so you passing the turn over without swinging is not that bad. And since he's a hybrid, he can go even on a Tamer, so making your Tamer a blocker in a clutch situation and removing a level 4 or like reducing level 4 to level 3 can be nice. So I like this card a lot and I would include it. Next we have Skynightmon and Deadly Axemon. 4 cost to play, 4 KDP. Yes, I don't click on it because they're quite similar. In Seed they're not really good. In their respective deck they are pretty nice. They have blocker and retaliation respectively. And blocker and reboot as the inherit. I think Deadly Axemon can be made a case for that you can include it because reboot is kinda nice, but paying 3 for reboot is another story. Next we have Duskmon, 6 cost to play, 6 KDP, 3 cost to Evo. I mention it because although he is the Frontiers cast Evo, he is not dual color. That's why I mentioned it specifically. On play when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, change one of their Digimon or Tamers colors into any of another color other than white, which is pretty unique. When attacking, one of your Digimon or Tamers may slide Evo into a level 4 hybrid from your trash with the cost reduced by 1. This does not specify color, which is pretty nice. However, 9 out of 10 times this wants to slide Evo into Prerelease. Then on deletion, you may play 1 Tamer card with the play cost 4 or less from your trash without paying the cost. Note that he doesn't say it needs to be with an inherent effect, which enables you to cheat out any kind of Tamer, which I think is pretty neat. Then let's look at Vagramon. 7 cost to play, 7 KDP, 4 cost to Evo from a Tamer or non-Tamer, level 3. On play when Digivolving, for each color among your opponent's Digimon and Tamers, trash the top card of both players' decks. Then this Digimon gets 1 KDP for each card trashed by this effect for the turn. So he can swing for a lot. in Seed. This can be double-edged sword, but again, do you really care in that situation? And then end of attack, by deleting one level 4 or lower purple Digimon, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. Note that it doesn't say it needs to be your Digimon, so if you delete one of their purple Digimon, that's some havoc you can reach there. So I like it. But worst case scenario, you can delete himself to delete all of the lowest level Digimon, but depends on how many Wookiees they have on the board whether this is worth or not. He has Retaliation, which I don't value as much in Sealed, but it's a good effect nonetheless for outside of Sealed, because in his respective deck he's pretty nuts. And then we have Livermon, the true hybrid spirit of Koichi. So when Digivolving, draw one, trash one, and then the same effects as the others. And Kaiser Leomon has Retaliation, has this unique effect, and then on play when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. I like this for the same reason as like Mega Capoteriamon. It's removal. So if you can hit the level 4 with that, I think that is great. I don't really care for the Retaliation that much, but I think it is a good card, so it can be included. And last but not least, we have Deltamon, 5 cost to play, 5 KDP, 3 cost to Evo. But on play, when Digivolving and on deletion, by trashing one card from your hand, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon, and he has blocker. I think this card is quite versatile for the same reason as I liked Kaiser Leomon. You do need to go down on one card in hand, but maybe it's already a break. But I like blocker, so I value blocker a bit more higher. So I advocate also to you guys, if you want to be more controlly, that you have a Digimon with blocker, because if you have a level 5 with blocker, all of a sudden all those hybrid plays that I advocated earlier are not as strong, because you can just block them down and then they lose a Digimon, you have still a Digimon. If you have reboot by any means possible, this is a pretty good combo. But yeah, I think that's all for the level 4s, and let's go to the level 5s. Alright, starting with the level 5s, we have Volcanomon, 9 cost to play, 9 KDP, evolves for free, which I like when Digivolving blitzes, and then when attacking, this Digimon gets 2 KDP until the end of your opponent's turn. So effectively he's 11k whenever you get the chance to swing with him, which is nice, so I would include him. Next we have one of the Chimera Mons, 8 cost to play, 8 KDP, 4 cost to evo. Unless your name has anything to do with composite, not your name, your trade, then it's free, but I digress. Inherent effect, sec +1, like the other one that we're gonna talk about in a second. Then when Digivolving, when attacking, by deleting one of your Digimon, delete one of your opponent's lowest DP Digimon, which in Seed is most likely a rookie. So then on deletion, you may DNA Digivolve one of your Machinedramon in play and one Chimeramon, potentially also this, in the trash into Millenniumon in your hand. I would personally not include it. Same here, similar stats, similar inherit. On play when Digivolving differs though, but deleting one of your Digimon, you can delete one level 3, level 4, and level 5 Digimon on your opponent's side. I don't like removing your Digimon to do something so small, because in the end of the day, this is pretty specific. If it could delete a level 3 or lower, level 4 or lower, and level 5 lower, this would be better, but like this, I don't think so. Next we have Memamon with the simple one attacking effect of you may play one blue level 3 Digimon or one Tamer card from this illusion card without paying the cost. Note that the Tamer can be of any color, so I think that's good, getting your Tamers out from your hybrids to then use them again next turn to do some funny plays. Also, costing 3 to evo is something I really prefer if I really need to get up the chain. And yeah, 8 cost to Hard Slam, 8 KDP, but it doesn't really matter because it doesn't have an on play. But yeah, I like it. Next we have Wankomon, 7 cost to play, 7 KDP, blocker as its own effect and 3 cost to evo. On play when Digivolving, one of your Digimon can't be deleted by battle until the end of your opponent's turn, which can be handy if you want to block something higher than itself. And then inherit effect, your turns, this Digimon attack target cannot be switched. Looking at you, Mirage Gargomon. But for Seed, I think it's also pretty good because I like blocker. So yeah. Next we have Marine Bullomon with the new keyword decode, which basically, like I mentioned earlier, is like a mini partition but only for a single card of the specified color and level. Then 7 cost to play, 7 KDP, 3 cost to evo. On play, when Digivolving, you may place one Digimon card with the Aqua or Sea Animal in one of its traits from your hand under one of your Digimon evolution cards, and that's it. And then end of attack, you may play one level 4 or lower Digimon card with the Aqua Sea Animal in one of its traits from this Digimon's evolution cards without paying the cost. So if this is your level 6, you can cheat out some small bodies, but I don't think it would come up that much in Seed. Next we have Diapinmon, one of the level 5s of the Frontiers cast, Tommy. He can Hyper Double Spirit Evolve with Kumamon and Korakimon if you put those two cards under one of your blue or red Tamers. He has Ice Clad, which is also not new keyword that basically doesn't compare DP, instead compares evolution sources, which is why he also has evolution sources in his when Digivolving. So when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with no evolution sources. Again, in Seed is 9 out of 10 times a rookie, which is pretty bad. But if you happen to have Kumamon and Kumamon in his beast form in your deck, you can include it for some clutch factor if you also have some red and blue Tamers. Other than that, I don't think he is that great. Next we have Arkai Angemon. On play, on deletion, he's a 6 cost, 6k, 3 cost to evo. You may place one Digimon card with the Angel, Archangel, or Frigate Angel straight from your hand at the bottom of your security stack. Then if you have 4 more security cards, add the top card of your security stack to the hand. He's also considered an Angel, and on deletion recover 1. I think the best part of this card is on deletion recover 1. Keeps you more in the game. I don't think the other things are gonna come up. And even though he's cheap to evo into, like standard level 5 cost, he has only 6 KDP, which can be rivaled by the other beast spirits that we talked about earlier. So I don't really like this card. But if you have aces that we talk about later, or any level 6 that you want to evo into, he might be a good okay target. Next we have Mr. 7 cost to play, 7 KDP, 3 cost to evo. He has Barrier, and on play and when Digivolving, by trashing the top card of security stack, change the original DP of one Digimon, doesn't need to be yours, it can be your opponent's, whatever, to 6k until the end of your opponent's turn. I wouldn't know why you want to pick yours, but hey, I digress. All turns, when the card is removed from your security stack, unsuspend this Digimon. This can be used quite nicely offensively, but you know, that's for finishing, and if you have a level 6 to even activate this effect. But I would still include this card because he seems nice, even though his on play effect is pretty situational. Next we have Scott Baluchimon, 7 cost to play, 7 KDP, 4 cost to evo. Then on play, when Digivolving, by trashing your top security card, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon in game 1 memory. On deletion recover 1. Then all turns, when your security is reduced, you may unsuspend this Digimon. Similar effect to Mistimon. Even though he has the similar effect of Arkai Angemon, with on deletion recover 1, you do need to remember that he needs to die first. But if I say Arkai Angemon is a good card for that effect, I think this Digimon is also a good card for that effect alone, because he's either removing something, or he can just swing, and if he dies, good. If he doesn't die, also good. Next we have Entmon, 7 cost to play, 7 KDP, 3 cost to evo, no inherits, and then the only effect is your turns. When this suspended Digimon would Digivolve into level 6 card with plant or vegetation in one of his traits, reduce the cost by 2. Will not come up in this sealed, so there's the info dump. Next we have Dressifimon, the wind level 5, same effect as Diapinmon. So she has raid, and then when Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. They cannot unsuspend until the end of the turn, and then all turns this Digimon gets 2 KDP. Again, I like personally Kazumon and Sephiremon, because Kazumon is not as good as Sephiremon, but Sephiremon has piercing, so I like that. And also basically stunning a Digimon or a Tamer to ensure that they cannot evolve into a Digimon next turn. Seems okay. Would I pay 4 for it though? I'm not so confident about it, but I digress. It's nice if you have both of them in your deck. You can just include it as an auto include, and if you don't, depends on how your deck is structured if you want to slow down your opponent, but I probably would pass on that actually. Next we have another Royal Beast class, Cannon Beamon. 8 cost to play, 8 KDP, 4 cost to evo unless your name or you are a Royal Beast card, then it is free from level 4. Security effect says all Royal Base cards or Royal Base paired Digimon get blocker, and then on play when Digivolving for each face up security card, Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Inherit effect is the same as Hoppitmon from the starter deck that says when this Digimon deletes your opponent's Digimon in battle, trash their top security card, which is pretty good. And it's a pretty generic effect too. So if you have level 6s that you can lean into, I think this is actually a card that you can consider, even though its on-play when Digivolving card effect is pretty much non-active unless you happen to have some Royal Base cards that you got into your security face up. But yeah, I can see this card being played in its original deck. Next we have the level 5 from BT19, similar effects as the card that I mentioned before, but this time it's Vespermon instead of another B. And then on play when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 2 or less. For each of your face up security cards, add 2 to this effect's maximum play cost. So effectively, if you are ready to go, you have all your security face up, you can delete a 12 cost, which is pretty strong, but in sealed sadly will not come up. But for honorable mentions again for its inherit effect, I think it's pretty nice. So if you have a level 6 that you can consistently get into, I think this is a consideration worth, because then you can switch from swinging into your opponent's security directly, from then to controlling the board. And if he himself has blocker because of any inherit effects that I mentioned earlier, that level 6 is going to be a strong big boss monster that it's hard to get down to. Next we have Weissmon, which has blocker as his own effect, costs 6 to play and 6 KDP with 3 cost to evo, and then on play when Digivolving, reveal the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck and then return those revealed cards to the top or bottom of that deck. That's his own effect, his only effect, which is kind of meh. Depends on you how much you value information, since your opponents will also know what they will draw into, so do have that in mind. However, I think as like a vanilla that you can bridge into level 6, he's not that bad, because for all intents and purposes he can make sure that your opponents will not draw into some good cards, or if you would draw into some good cards, you can just bottom deck the cards. So I think he has some niche situations, and he is a blocker, so at worst he can block down some level 4s, level 3s, because the level 4s usually have the same stats as him, which is the biggest downside honestly at this stat line, but I digress. Next we have Nightmon, 8 cost to play, 7 KDP and 3 cost to evo. He has also blocker, and then end of opponent's turn, once per turn, you may choose one of your opponent's Digimon. Your opponent must attack with that chosen Digimon, and obviously it needs to be able to attack, but yeah, I think that's a pretty strong attack, a strong effect. Also all turns, all of your Digimon with the Nightmon in the text get 2 KDP, which is pretty handy in its respective deck. But in general, yeah, I can see this card. I think this card is pretty good. I mean, it's not forced, you can choose, and this would forcibly trigger an ace, so hey, I like it. Next we have Reno Kabuterimon, the level 5 of JP, with similar effects as the others, so similar methods, so similar. Next we have Rhino Kabuterimon, with the level 5 of JP, so similar effects as the others, so similar logic. If you have Bitimon and Mythic Kabuterimon in your deck, and you think you have also the Tamers that you need for that, great card. In general, he has collision, and basically when an attack target is switched all turns, you may unspend this Digimon, so it's also not forced, which I like. His inherent effect is when attacking once per turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4k, which is pretty aight. Then again, you need to have a level 6 to have this active. I think collision in that scenario can be more of a hindrance than a benefit unless you have piercing with one of the Digimons I mentioned earlier. So I don't know if I really want to evo into this. His effect can be useful though, so do have that in mind, but it's pretty costly to evo for this for 4, so have that in mind too. Then we have Dark Nightmon, 8 cost to play, 8 KDP, 4 cost to evo, has material save 1, he Digi-cost with Skull Nightmon and Deadly Axemon, so he can count down for 4. On play when Digivolving, Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Then if you Digi-cost with 2 cards, you may delete one Digimon with play cost 3 or lower. And then on deletion, you may play one level 4 or lower Digimon card with the Nightmon in its text from under your Tamers without paying the cost. And the same as his inheritance on deletion. Pretty situational. If you can Digi-cost him, but for all intents and purposes do so. But paying 4 to basically Digi-Volve 1 is, in my eyes, a bit costly. Although if you have a few cards that have Nightmon in their text that he can just spit out, I think that's not that bad. But from under your Tamers, it's pretty unlikely. From under your trash, it's a bit better. But I wouldn't personally include this as an automatic 4-off in my seed deck, even though you're not going to draw 4-off. So I would skip on this card in general in seed. Oboromon is almost the last card for this round. 7 cost to play, 7 KDP, 3 cost to evo. Retaliation is as its inherit. On play when Digivolving, delete one level 4 or lower red, green, purple or white Digimon, then delete one blue, yellow, black or white Tamer with a play cost of 3. Pretty interesting. Would be nice if you have the level 4s, of the dark side, to change colors, but I don't think it's a good card to include. Its effect is basically just deleting maybe red or green or purple Digimon, but I think there are other better level 5s that I mentioned earlier than this card. But if you really want to be sure that you can get rid of those pesky level 4s, I guess you can include this card. Next we have Ryamon, similar effect to the others. He has jamming as his effect, and then when Digivolving you may play a Tamer with an inherit effect from your trash without paying the cost, which is good, gives you recursion. And then when attacking once per turn, similar to Kabuterimon, minus 4k to your opponent's Digimon. I think if you have a Tamer heavy deck, this card can be good. Other than that, it's basically saying I pay 1 more to have jamming. I don't know if that's really the play, but I guess it's a bit better than other Digimon that I mentioned earlier. And last but not least, we have Lucemon, 13 cost to play, 13 KDP, Lucemon Chaos Mode obviously, 8 to Evo from level 4, Evos for 6 from Lucemon. On play when Digivolving, your opponents may delete one of their Digimon or Tamers. If this effect didn't delete, recover 1 and trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Then all turns when this Digimon would leave the battle area by trashing the bottom card of your security stack, it doesn't leave. So it's pretty sticky. I don't know if you really want to include him, because paying 8 to Evo into him is kinda expensive. It's really expensive. So I wouldn't include him. But that's that. So let's go to the level 6 and level 7 in the speedrun. Alright, here we have the level 6s and level 7s, but I will talk about the level 6s in more detail. All the ancients have similar effects that all turns they can play out level 4 or lower card from their sources or just return it to the hand. They have similar stat lines of 12 cost to play, 12 KDP. If it's an ancient of the heroes of the Frontier series, then it's 11 cost to play, 11 KDP and 3 cost to evo, but usually they are similar. Then on play when Digivolving for Ancient Volcanomon, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level, lowest DP. Can be situational, but this would usually target only rookies, so I don't think it is as good as the other ancients, so I would pass on them. I would also neglect the Digi-cost aspect of it, so yeah, that's that. Next we have Emperor Greymon, best boy, 5 cost to evo, 13 cost to play, 13 KDP, evos from Takuya if he has 5 Tamers, 5 hybrids under him. When Digivolving for each color in this Digimon evolution card, trash any one evolution card from your opponent's Digimon and suspend one of their Digimon. Then this Digimon may attack, so it has Pseudo Blitz, so I guess that's good for a change. Your turns once per turn. When this Digimon deletes your opponent's Digimon in battle, it gains Sec +1 for the turn and unsuspends. This would be good if you have a consistent way of getting piercing. So I would just ignore that part for now and just look at this card part. So if you want to pay 5 to blitz into your opponent, I guess that is one way of finishing the game. But I don't really like this card for all intents and purposes. Next we have Mark Nagaromon I need to preface in Seed. And next we have Mark Nagaromon, similar stats to Empire Greymon, but one Digimon will end of opponent's turn once per turn. By placing one Digimon card from this evolution cards as your bottom security card, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the same level as this place card, which I think can be pretty damn strong in Seed. Also, this heals you by 1, so keeps you alive also, so I like it a lot. And it's one Digimon end during your opponent's turn. And then all turns, once per turn, when this Digimon attacks, by adding the top card of your security stack to the hand, unsuspend this Digimon. So he can be swinging twice, he can be a good game ender. Obviously he's not gonna end the game the turn he comes down, because he costs 5, but he has good ways of removing your opponent's board, so I think he's a good consideration. Next we have Ancient Mamamon with her effect of return one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon to the hand. For each of your other Digimon, add 1 to this effect level maximum. I think this card is pretty great. I don't know if I would ever slam it down to remove something hard, but as a wind Digimon effect, I think it's pretty consistent. There's the high likelihood that you have more than one Digimon on the field, so this potentially being able to bounce back level 5 or even level 6, I think it's pretty great, so I would include it for that. Next we have Ryugamon with Decore level 5. When Digivolving, you may play a level 4 or lower blue Digimon card from this Digimon evolution card for paying the cost. Also cost 12 to play, 12 KDP, but I decided to not mention that. End of your turn, once per turn, by returning one of your Digimon to the bottom of the deck, so it can also be him. Return one of your opponent's Digimon with level equal or lower to your Digimon to the bottom of the deck, also as aquatic. I think in Seed it's not as good, but hey, this is pretty strong card for its respective deck. Next you have Changpengmon, 13 cost to play, 13 KDP, 5 cost to Evo, Sec +1, blocker, when Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon, so I guess that's one merit. Then by placing one of your other Digimon with the Aqua or Sea Animal in one of his traits as this Digimon evolution card, you gain free memory, so it potentially can come down for 2. In that case it's nice. Other than that, it's just passing the turn over with a blocker that is active, so I think that's more likely what the use case of this card. Next we have Ancient Megatoriumon, that's a long name. Unplay when Digimon trash the bottom 2 evolution cards of all of your opponent's Digimon, then none of their Digimon with no evolution cards can suspend until the end of the turn. For a 3 cost Evo, I think that's actually not that bad. Slowing down your opponent, establishing a big body for free. 11 cost to play, 11 KDP, yeah. I mean, if you run Kumamon and Quakemon, it's a bit cheaper, but I think the Digicross requirements are hard to meet in Seed, so that's why I also ignore them. So yeah, I would include him actually when I pull him, and I would also suggest that you do too. Next we have Dynasmon Ace. It's an ace, so that's like already a reason why he's also disruptive. He has rate, and by trashing the top card of your security stack, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -6, so you can disrupt your opponent and just stop them from attacking you. Also, he gets blocker and 4 KDP if you have 3 or fewer security stacks, so you can ace into, go from 4 to 3, and then block the attacking Digimon, which is something good. So yeah. Next you have the normal Dynasmon version, which has an unplay when Digivolving. By trashing the top card of your security stack, one of your Digimon gets blocker and gets 6k until the end of your opponent's turn. Then all turns, once per turn, when this Digimon would leave the battle area, if you have 2 or fewer security cards, recover 1. Nice thing like on the side to recover 1 if he would leave the battle area by deletion or whatever. But since he doesn't recover continuously like his X antibody form, I'm not so sure if I would include him. The fact that I need to trash the top security card to give him blocker and 6 KDP is not the nicest things that would come up to my mind, but I could be wrong. I mean, as a 3-cost Evo 11 KDP body, I think he's also fine. So that's that. Next we have Dynasmon X antibody. Evos for 1 from Dynasmon, otherwise it Evos for 4. Raid and blocker, which is pretty nice. When Digivering, when attacking, is locked to having Dynasmon or X antibody under it. But if you do, you can trash the top card of your security stack and then trash the top card of your opponent's security stack, and this Digimon gets 6 KDP until the end of your opponent's turn, which is nice. End of your turn, he also has a clause that will heal you if you are lower than 2, but then again you're unsealed, so your deck size is not as big as normally, so do have that in mind. So for all intents and purposes, paying 1 more than usual to have 1 more DP, raid and blocker, I think that's pretty good. So yeah, I like this card, I would include it. Next we have Meta Itimon, one of the only cards that can DNA Digivolve in this set. 11 cost to play, 11 KDP, 3 cost to Evo. On play when Digivolving and on deletion, one of your opponent's Digimon gets a sec -2 to the end of the turn, then Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. I think that's a really good card. Nothing else to say. Next we have Lucemon X antibody. 14 cost to play, 14 KDP, 6 cost to Evo. Evos from level 5 or higher Lucemon for the cost of 3. All turns when this Digimon would leave the battle area, if a card with Lucemon in its name is in this evolution cards, by trashing both players' top security card, it doesn't leave. Also, end of your turn, once per turn, your opponent may trash the top security card. If this effect didn't trash, recover 1 and delete one of your opponent's Digimon and Tamers. I think for 6, that's a strong effect, because yes, his first effect is not active, but you Evo into him, you pass the turn, you tell them, hey, you either trash one of yours or you give me 1 more security and you lose the Digimon. It's pretty heavy, and with all the good inherit effect that you could have, I think this could be even run like as a cheeky one-off. I mean, it's seed, you most likely not gonna have 2 unless you pull him and then the altar, but hey, if you do that, you already won in life. So that's a good one for deal. I mean, Lucemon X antibody. Next is Ancient Troymon. 12 cost to play, like the other ones, blah blah blah. All turns effect though, his first all turns effect is when an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, trash their top security card. So of your opponent's Digimon, obviously. I think this is pretty great. I think that's also pretty underrated. I would pay happily for 4 to Evo into him to have this effect active. So yeah. Next we have Ancient Kazamon. On play when Digivolving, suspend all of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP as this Digimon, then one of your opponent's Digimon. Then none of your opponent's Digimon can unsuspend until the end of the turn. For free, similar to Ancient Mega Turimon, locking down your opponent's board can be nice. So I would include it for that reason a lot. Next we have Tiger Vespamon, a piercing reboot. On play when Digivolving, for each of your face-up security stacks, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then none of the Digimon can unsuspend until the end of your turn, which still locks them down if they all are unsuspended anyways. Cost 12 to play for 12 KDP and 4 cost to Evo, unless you're already based, then it's free. In all turns when other Digimon are deleted in battle, this Digimon may unsuspend, which is crazy. So yeah, this card is good, even though it's not like his on-play when Digimon effect is not gonna come up. I think this card is still good. Next we have Queenbimon. 12 cost to play, 12 KDP, 4 cost to Evo, unless you're a royal base trade Digimon, then it's free. Alliance. When attacking, you may play 1 royal base trade Digimon card from your face-up security stack with the play cost reduced by 8, which is pretty handy. Also, all times when any of your royal base trade Digimon would leave the battle area other than in battle, you may place those Digimon face up in the bottom of your security stack, which is crazy. For seed, meh, but other than that, crazy. And next we have Ancient Wisemon with the sadly bad effect of you may reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, play 1 black card with a play cost of 7 or less among them without paying the cost, trash the rest. I don't think that you want to include this unless the specific combo is the card that I'm talking about next, but other than that, no. The card that I'm talking about next is Shadows of Agumon. Ace, 7 cost to play, 12 KDP, 4 cost to Evo, unless there are also other stipulations that are hard to read out. On play, when Digivolving, Digivolve free of one of your opponent's Digimon. By the way, he's also a blocker. And then all turns, once per turn, when an attack target is changed, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 5k for the turn, which effectively makes him able to block down 17k or 16k DP Digimon without dying, or getting a 2-for-1, which I think is nice. So he's an ace anyway, so I would include him for that reason. But yeah. Next we have Ancient Beatamon with his unique effect of on play when Digivolving, Digivolve 2 on 2 of your opponent's Digimon. Again, disruption is, I guess, the name of the game for the Frontiers level 6s. So if you need some disruptions, I think that is a good card to include. Next is Machinamon, which is an 11 cost to play and 11 KDP, but if you delete a composite trait Digimon, he comes down for 4 less, so for 7. And then on play when Digivolving, Digivolve onto all of your opponent's Digimon. He also evils for free, by the way. And then on deletion, he has the same on deletion as Chimera before. And then opponent's turn, once per turn, when any of your opponent's Digimon attack, you may change the attack target to one of your Digimon with the composite or wicked god trait. So basically, it has an inbuilt redirect, which can be handy in its respective deck, but for Seed, it's kind of meh. Like, there's a consideration to be made if your opponent is going wide and has level 4s all around the board, that he could be pretty nice. But I think I would rather include all of the other options for free than him. Next we have Zambamon, which I think is the craziest card in auto include in every deck. 12 cost to play, 12k DP, and 4 cost to Evo. But when any of your Digimon would Digivolve into this card, reduce the evolution cost by 1 for each color in your opponent's trash, effectively making him potentially a 2 cost Evo, which is pretty easy, or a 0 cost Evo. And then his your turn's effect is, for every 2 colors in your opponent's trash, this Digimon gains Sec plus 1 and 2 KDP. So for all intents and purposes, he can high roll and be a Sec plus 2 Digimon with 16 KDP. And that evils for 0. I think that is insane and you should include it no matter what. Ancient Swingspawn is not as insane as the other ones. He costs 4 to Evo, which surprises me a bit. And then on play when Digivolving, he deletes an opponent's unsuspended Digimon. It can be any Digimon, but I still am not a favorite of him, so I wouldn't play him. I think that's kind of costly to potentially just delete the level 3. Then next we have Lord Nightmon Ace, one of the only aces that cannot really block or disrupt your opponent's play. I mean, he is an ace nonetheless, but I read out, when Digivolving, you may play one level 5 or lower Digimon with the Nightmon in its text from your hand or trash before paying the cost. So you could potentially play out the Nightmon that has blocker. And then all turns, all Digimon with as much or less DP as this Digimon gain collision, which on surface level seems nice, and this would also force your opponent. Actually, no, this is not that bad, because your opponent's Digimon would gain collision, which would force him to block. So there's that, but other than that, I like the other aces more, but he can be niche, he can be nice. Next we have Lord Emon, the star of the show, I guess, from BT19. 11 cost to play, 11 KDP, evils for free, and then on play when Digivolving, you may play one level 4 lower Digimon card from your trash without paying the cost. I think everybody would know this card. And then also opponent's turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon attacks, you may switch the attack target to one of your Digimon with the Royal Knight trait, aka him. Yeah, he's a good card, include him. Next you have Lord Nightmon X Antibody. The changes are he evils for 1 more, or for 1 on Lord Nightmon he has collision and piercing on himself. He Digivolves 1 onto one of your opponent's Digimon for each of your Digimon that you have in play, and then one of the Digimon is locked out of evolution, which seems crazy to me. And then all turns while you have Lord Nightmon or X Antibody in this evolution cards, all of your Digimon with Nightmon gain Alliance and free KDP, which is nice. And so it's situational. I maybe would include him if you really want to control the board, but yeah. And then all the other cards are not really great in Sealed. And because the video is already that long, I'm gonna just quickly showcase those cards and talk about them in another day, even though it pains me. I would not include any of them, but yeah, let's move on to the Tamers and option cards to wrap up this video. Alright, we are here now with the Tamers, and in short, all the Frontier Tamers are a good thing to include because they synergize with the hybrids that you want to play in your deck. Owen Dreadnought is is a mem setter, so he's an auto include also, but himself is a pretty nice card because his effect reads: when the card is removed from your opponent's security stack by spinning this Tamer, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4k or less, which is pretty much accelerating your gameplay of controlling the board, making sure that he doesn't have fun, and you will lead on with the game. Other than that, Win as the only 3-cost Tamer, surprisingly, but he is only functional within his own deck, and he only nets your memory if you have a face-up security card ready. If you do, hey, you're lucky boy. So yeah, that's about the Tamers in general. Zenith is the only one that I would maybe not include because he doesn't do much, anything at all, actually, without any Vemmons. And then for option wise, Wadotsumi Purification is a good removal tool if you can pay the cost of having a blue Tamer or blue something on the field to enable it. Bouncing at level 4, and then potentially if you bounce one of your own blue Digimon, bouncing level 6 is pretty good. Other than that, everything else is pretty much hard to use, pretty situational. And the only good card that I could see is Dragon's Roar, which triggers his security effect if it's milled, and you can use it while you have a yellow Digimon with data originally in his trade, aka Dynasmon. Because their effect leads, you can use it, remove, give something minus 6k to the end of the turn. Then if you have 2 of your security cards, you can place this at the bottom, and this will trigger to delete something with 6k DP and then heal you by 1 if it's the last card in your security. Other than that, all the other option cards are pretty much locked to their own deck. Hornet Eraser is also removal, but it's quite expensive for 8, so I would really think about it. I mean, you can include it to have some bombs, but in general I would personally include more Tamers in this set, because Tamers in this set don't usually have only the purpose of giving you memory. They also act as like a rookie on standby that you can evolve into and then swing for game. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a bit of a mess recording this. I was sick the week before. I have been sick now. I needed to cut out a few things. There are probably some coughs still in it, but hey, I'm here to support you guys and make sure that you have fun at your pre-release or celebration event, however you want to call it. I will be back for 2.5 the second I know what is going to be in 2.5. And yeah, with that said, have fun and get that machine the one that you need. Peace out.